What's good, y'all? In today's lock video, we're going to kind of be doing a follow-up on my top 5 striker weapon video, except this time we'll be doing the heavily requested midfielder list. Now, before I get into the list, just know I'll be taking all midfielder spots in consideration, so center mid, center attacking mid, defensive midfielder, etc. Other thing I wanted to let you guys know is just like in the top 5 striker weapon video, this list is mainly directed towards competitive locked, not autos, but if you are looking for a weapon as a casual, this list should also work out for you. Final thing I'm going to say is I do actually have some honorable mentions, but I'll be saving these until the end of the video so I can explain why they aren't on the list without stopping. Now with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with our number 5 weapon on the list, King. Now King is one of the best weapons for an attacking midfielder. You can get from one point to the other from a fairly long distance with ease, and pretty much every time you use the weapon you're going to shake up the defense, so either your teammate or you yourself is going to be open for a shot. Now King has another huge positive, and that's if you know what you're doing with King and you're constantly getting into your teammate's box, then they will position differently just to stop you, and that will obviously create some openings for your wingers and your striker. Now with that being said, even using King as a midfielder does have a downside, and that's the fact that you don't really have anything to work with when it comes to passing. Like compared to all the other weapons on the list, they actually have some sort of gimmick to it to where you could pass further or pass differently, but King just doesn't really have all that. So if you're one that likes to pass around a lot and whatnot, King might not be the weapon for you because this is really a heavy attacking weapon. So if you're rocking a formation where you guys are just attacking at all times, you have all midfielders and forwards on deck, like this might be it for you. But like I said, if you're more of a playmaker, then maybe one of these other weapons would be a much better option for you. So that's about it for our number 5 midfielder weapon. Let's talk about our number 4 Riptide. And Riptide can be used for any midfielder position. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, Riptide was not meant to be ranked this low, but as each update passes by, it's like Riptide just gets more and more unusable because there's just better options. But a little more on that later. Let's talk a bit about what actually makes Riptide a great weapon. First off, you get a pretty fair power boost with this weapon because of the way it curves and the fact that it's a shooting weapon, and because of this you could have some great variety with your build. Like you could be rocking 5'3" or like 5'6" or something and still be shooting dimes across the field to your teammates. Like I've seen plenty of 5'3" Riptide users and they're sending through balls perfectly fine, so you can pretty much rock any height you want with this build. Or weapon, I should say. Another great thing about Riptide is the effectiveness of the curve. If you've ever played against a good Riptide user, you should know how satisfying it is to see a pass curve completely around the opponent for a dime to your teammate or yourself. And honestly, if you yourself as the midfielder actually masters the curve, it's pretty hard to get it intercepted. And yeah, on top of all the playmaking capabilities Riptide has to give, it also still has some pretty good attack options. Even with straight Riptide being long gone, you can still hit crazy shots from crazy angles. Now, I will say, these won't really work unless you're quick and unpredictable, at least if you're going against a good keeper, because the curve does seem to get a little slower, at the end of the shot. So if you're using this weapon to shoot or anything like that, make sure you're super accurate and super quick with it. Now, even with all the positives Riptide has to offer, it's still ranked pretty low on the list, and I hate to say it, but like I said earlier, there's just better options. Even though Riptide is very consistent, it's not a dangerous weapon to constantly worry about like the weapons above it, and it's not nearly as versatile compared to them, at least anymore. Now with our number 4 covered, we are now on to the big 3, and to kick it off, at number 3 we have Kunigami. And just like Riptide, Kunigami can be used for all midfielder positions. Now I was conflicted on putting Kunigami at 4 and Riptide at 3, because in terms of all around passing, Riptide is just a way better weapon, but I thought on it more, and if you can combine literally any trait with Kunigami like quick draw, predator eye, or no look, all these problems will be solved and then more. Kunigami just by itself has the ability to send a clear that instantly puts your team on counterattack. You can also send a crazy through ball that gets you a free shot at goal, and if you combine Kunigami with Predator Eye, it's borderline unfair. Real quick, let me explain how insane Kuni Predator Eye is. Imagine a powered up Emperor direct shot that you can shoot way outside the box that keeps his speed and velocity pretty much the whole way through. Like I'm telling you guys, it's literally so broken. Like you have to have someone marking that player 24/7 or they will make a shot. Like it's like a direct shot user except they're outside the box, which makes it all the more annoying for defenders because you're just wasting stamina like just guarding one dude. And you can't be lazy with it either. Like this is not a shot you want your keeper to try and catch. Like it's most likely going in just because of how straight it is and how powerful it is. Now, even with Kuni being a solid weapon, it managed to find itself at the bottom of top 3 and almost number 4 for one reason, and that's the fact compared to every weapon on this list, it has the slowest activation time. And honestly, this can hinder you so much in larger scaled games, ones that have a lot of players on the field moving at a very fast pace. You honestly have such a short window to actually make a pass happen, and that's the least thing you want to worry about as a midfielder, because midfielders, at least how I personally like them, should be very fast with their passes and very effective with it. Kunigami, it's very effective, yes, but fast, not really. So when you're using Kunigami, you absolutely need to know how to use it and know when to use it at the perfect time. You just have to make a play every time you let this weapon off, or else, it's kind of useless. Now, enough about Kunigami, let's talk about the weapon we have on our number 2 spot, Sword Screw. Now, if you know how to use this weapon, and I quote, if you know how to use this weapon, Sword Screw is a absolute nightmare for keepers. Sword Screw honestly gets overlooked a lot because it's one of the more skilled weapons in this game, but it rewards you a ton when you know how to use it correctly. With this weapon, you could do crazy things like pass it to a teammate, and before the ball drops to the ground, you could pass it back to yourself or another teammate. And you could also do crazy things on attack, like you could shoot the ball way over the net and sword screw it back into the wherever you were trying to shoot in the first place, or you could do a fake shot and then pass it to a teammate off that shot. It's a very, very annoying weapon. It's one of those I don't know, it's a very weird weapon. You don't know what to expect when the sword screw user has the ball in their hands. I mean, it does have the ball is a bit slow sometimes depending on what trait they're rocking and what height they are, but for the most part, it's a decently powered shot and it's going who knows where, so you really don't know what to think or expect when going against this. Honestly, for most midfielders, I feel like Sword Screw is the most ideal weapon. You can redirect the ball at your free will. You just have so much freedom in general with this weapon. And honestly, I don't really know any negatives I could give to this weapon, except the fact you have to be skillful and have to know how the powers work, and your teammates have to have a bit of a brain and not fall for the fakes as much as the defenders do. Now that's about it for Sword Screw. We're gonna go up to our number 1 weapon on the list, Planet Hotline. Now some of y'all might be like, oh brother, this guy really put Planet Hotline on the list so early. And hey, I'm not even gonna decline it. This might be recency bias, but just thinking about all the possibilities with this weapon and taking into account the things I've already seen, I just had to put it at number 1, at least for now. And listen, y'all, if Planet Hotline ends up being a bust and just a trash weapon, I promise you guys I will redo this list. But yeah, enough about that. Let's talk about what makes Planet Hotline good. So first off, I think Planet Hotline has one of the either the lowest or the second lowest cooldown out of every weapon in this list. So pretty much in competitive games, every single offensive possession you will have Planet Hotline activated. Another thing Planet Hotline has is it's just unpredictable. You don't need to do anything special. You don't have to bend the weapon in any sort of way. No matter what, anytime you're activating this weapon, you're going to be unpredictable unless you're obviously just lobbing the ball back or something like that. Make it look like you're passing to a teammate, and yeah, let the Planet Hotline user work from there. And I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but if you're rocking Emperor or Kunigami Predator Eyes, something like that, like a shooting weapon, you can instantly shoot off the Planet Hotline. I've seen and I've played with people that utilize this really good. They Planet Hotline to an Emperor user and the Emperor user instantly shoots it while everybody's faked out running towards where the ball originally was supposed to land. And in most cases, if you use it right, this results in a free goal. Now, Planet Hotline's main feature that is probably the best thing it has is the fact that it can save a lot of passes. If you're a good Planet Hotline user and you have some good vision, you can save the defense from throwing a bad clear or the attack from throwing a bad pass just by pressing R, and you could keep the play going. You pretty much get a second chance. So yeah, to say the least, Planet Hotline is a very tricky weapon to guard because you literally can't guard it. As long as everybody on the team has some good chemistry and knows what they're doing and actually tries to do the fakes, you literally can't tell when the Planet Hotline is going to go off, and it could go off anywhere on the field. Planet Hotline's range covers literally the whole field. It's only height you got to worry about. You can't just lob the ball 50 feet into the air. It has to be somewhat in a decent range. But like in terms of how long it reaches to, it pretty much reaches to the whole U20 field. So you could pretty much just go crazy. You're all over the field being a great playmaker pretty much. So hey, I said sword screw, you had complete freedom with this weapon. Planet Hotline has freedom like tenfold. Like you could be anywhere on the field, anytime, any place, short cooldown. Like it's honestly a very great weapon in my personal opinion. And if you still want to do long passes and crazy passes, stuff like that, just get no look or like ambidextrous. But I'd heavily recommend no look. Like do not rock ambidextrous, bro. Rock no look. But yeah, the only downside I really say about this weapon is since it's new, people don't really know how to utilize it to its fullest just yet. So you could come off as very predictable sometimes when using this weapon, but at the end of the day, the defenders and the keepers have to react to whatever pass you make. So I mean, you're gonna get somewhat of a fake, but hey, if you're playing a hotline user, be sure to let your attackers know like when they want to play a hotline, be unpredictable with it. Like act like you're passing it to another teammate except the ball is just really high, something like that. But yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the honorable mentions. Now, first honorable mention we have is Copycat. Now, the reason Copycat didn't make the list is because it's not really an actual individual weapon. Like you pretty much have every weapon in your bag except the uniques. So yeah, lots of versatility. And our next honorable mention we have is Ironhead. Now, Ironhead, I do not see this weapon getting used at all anymore. And honestly, I know why, but at the same time, I don't. Like, it's an instant, like, pretty powerful, like, clear shot pass, whatever you want it to be. And yeah, it's just a very overall solid weapon. Very quick as well, the quickest aside from Emperor. So yeah, I don't know. It's a very good weapon. Only thing I'd say about it is that you can't really do super long passes. Like it's kind of like a short to mid-range type thing. Our next honorable mention is direct shot. Now, direct shot, this is like purely a cam weapon, and you have to kind of have like something other than long strides or something like that. Like you pretty much have to pair it up with no look or quick draw, something like that, or else it's not going to really be effective as a midfielder. But if you know how to maneuver around the defense, you know how to use your off-ball movement pretty well, you could get some really cool shots off. And since you're a cam, you got a little bit more time to do so. Now, for our final honorable mention, I have Godspeed. And yeah, Godspeed, all I gotta say about this weapon is what happened to it is tragic. Like before the shadow nerfs it was one of the best, if not the best, defensive midfielder weapon. Like it was the emperor on defense. Like once you used it and you were on target, you were gonna get that ball and you were gonna get it clear off. But now Godspeed is horrible now. Like people use it as defense because you couldn't really use it on attack, and now there's like really no reason to use it at all. Like I don't even know how you use Godspeed anymore, to be honest. Like ever since the shadow nerf, I haven't seen a Godspeed midfielder yet, or defensive midfielder I should say. And for sure nobody's using Godspeed on attack. So yeah, once again, justice for Godspeed. But with that being said, that's about it for our honorable mentions, and we already got done with the list. So the video is going to conclude now. I hope you guys enjoyed this list. Let me know if you guys want a defender tier list next. And yeah, like one last thing before I head out though, like honestly, like midfielder, like the position itself is morally surrounded by traits than anything. Like weapons aren't really the most important thing. I mean, you got things like sword screw and planet that are really important, but like other than that, like you're mainly going to be rocking the no looks, the ambidextrous, whatever you want, whatever fits your play style the most. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the tier list, and hey, hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.